considered by many political insiders to be one of, if not the most critical U.S. Senate race in the country. Polling over the last couple of months has shown former Colorado Governor John Hickenlooper has a fairly commanding lead over incumbent Republican Cory Gardner. Of course, a lot can change in 4 months.
Chief Investigative Reporter Tony Kovaleski shows us tonight. Groups are lining up on both sides, ready to spend millions of dollars to influence your vote.
Special interests with special influence.
If you are like many voters, you're wondering, who can you believe?
But can we count on Cory Gardner to protect our health care?
Or perhaps trying to understand the growing list of groups trying to manage that message.
In Washington, Gardner voted 9 times with Donald Trump.
Pay to play on steroids.
And that's where we come in. Between now and November, our investigative team will be vetting the messages that are coming your way. Some estimates are calling for around $20 million in TV ads trying to influence your vote in the next 4 months.
This race is set up to be the biggest in U.S. history.
Steve Welchert is a political consultant and a regular contributor to Denver 7.
Money will come from both directions to try and keep this Senate race in Republican hands or take it back to Democratic hands.
And as a voter, that's perhaps your biggest challenge, understanding where the money's coming from so you can understand if it's a message you consider factual and credible.
NRSC is responsible for the content of this advertisement.
SNP is responsible for the content of this ad.
You can expect to hear many messages from those two groups. The NRSC is the National Republican Senatorial Committee, a group devoted to strengthening the Republican majority in the Senate, a group you can expect to fire hard against Hickenlooper. The SMP is the Senate Majority PAC, a group dedicated to building a Democratic majority in the Senate, a group you can expect to attack Gardner and his record. Sources telling us we will likely see at least 6 different PACs or third-party groups competing for your vote before the election.
The independent voters in Colorado are going to decide this race. And right now, they're breaking for Hickenlooper. Gardner's got to find a way to claw that back.
Tell Senator Gardner to hold China accountable.
And one other thing to watch for this election season, the role dark money will play in making and creating that message.
Well, part of the problem with dark money is that when the Supreme Court decided that corporations were people too, it allowed money to kind of enter into politics this backdoor way. And so what it really means is that no one's going to have to account for the money. So when you can't find that out, that's why it's dark money.
Finally, you can also expect to hear plenty of messages directly from the two candidates. Those will likely stay on the positive side, focusing on the agendas both candidates plan to carry out if they earn the Colorado Senate seat in November. So here's our promise. We will be closely watching all the ads and working to help you distinguish between reality and rhetoric, truths and untruths. Buckle up. It promises to be a very intriguing ride. I'm Chief Investigative Reporter Tony Kovaleski.